in this webinar, we're going to cover effectively everything about the Insurmountable Obstacles test as much as possible in the time that we have. We will look at EX1 and EX2 within the immigration rules, what they say for those who are less familiar with these provisions, and how they interplay with the rest of the rules. Relevant Home Office guidance. So there are some specific slides relating to the guidance, but I will also speckle references to the guidance where needed and where relevant. Same with relevant case law authorities. I've included some case law slides in the sort of second half or the last third of the webinar. But again, I may make references as we go along as well. Including the case law the slides on the case law is going to also include what the courts have said about the evidence required to support such applications. So there's 2 slides in particular you will see that specifically comment on really the expectations in terms of evidence that supports the claims that are made. And then at the end, we will also look at how to argue and evidence why to articulate points if the Insurmountable Obstacles test isn't met. In recent times, really, the way the courts have interpreted insurmountable obstacles, that may be tricky to sort of have a case that remains live, if you like, that's capable of succeeding under Article 8. So that's the main hurdle, but we'll talk about that in a bit more detail towards the end. So I hope that this will provide you a good overview, a good sort of roundup of where we are at with insurmountable obstacles. For those who are bang up to date, very experienced in this area, I hope you won't be disappointed in terms of the contents, because there isn't really anything particularly new in this area of law. There's no groundbreaking sort of ground-changing case that's recently been published. The case law has sort of settled for quite some time now. But I hope that everyone will find something useful as part of this webinar, really just as a refresher, as a way of thinking about things more practically as well, and sort of as a way to reflect on really where perhaps some improvements can be made by way of evidence, for example.